Satan comes in with mindless drifters. Think about like social media, right?
Yeah.
Mindless drifting.
That's a good point.
Right? Social media is just, that has created a world of mindless drifters. Welcome back to the Maeband podcast. I'm Holly.
And I'm Bryan.
And we are here to talk about a really cool book.
About what?
A book.
A book.
I don't know
Too bad
if
I
you
don't read.
read it. Well, I think you read it a long time ago or finished it.
What is it?
But the book is Outwitting the Devil.
Oh, yeah, I did. I didn't read it. I listened to it.
By Napoleon Hill.
That's what I do.
I mean, if you've ever heard of Napoleon Hill, he's probably most famous for Think and Grow Rich.
Yep. Which I've started and stopped that probably 40 times.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not rich, I guess. I thought about it. I just didn't grow.
So that's a really good book. And then I found this book, Outwitting the Devil.
So it's really interesting because it's basically, how would you describe the book? It's like him having a conversation with the devil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or did I just ruin the whole podcast by saying that?
It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because it's like a dialogue between him and the devil. So
yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And so basically he's like interviewing the devil. He's like asking him like all these questions and like how do you outwit the devil? So do you remember anything from it?
Not in particular, but I do, like, if you said something, I would probably remember it. Okay.
So first I'll say that independent thought and lack of fear are the greatest weapons against the adversary. So the easiest way that the devil enters our mind is through our fear.
Yeah.
I mean, so like it made me think about my fears. Like, what are my fears? What are your fears? And it's interesting because when I read this book, it's been a few years now. These are the fears that I wrote down.
Of yours?
Yeah. What are my fears?
Allowing Bryan to.
My fears are like the character of my children. I'm always worried about like how my kids will come out. And so it's like, that's how he gets
me. Did you stay up past 10:30?
Yes.
You're going to ruin your life.
No.
Your life is over.
He's an exaggerator.
I'm a little bit of an exaggerator, but sorry.
But yeah, so that's like one big thing.
Yeah.
And so that's like how he can get me. And that's how I can get, like, when I get fearful, I get like really anxious and worried and like upset and angry. You know, it's like a lot easier to have those negative emotions when I'm fearing like how my children turn out.
Yeah.
I put money as a fear.
Yeah. Yeah. We have different fears of money. I feel like. What was yours? What would you say your fear is?
Like lack of, like not having like a savings.
I would have thought that. I would have thought it would be like, you have a fear of spending it.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, one that I really had to get past was like money. I had like this fear that money would make people bad. Yeah.
I think that's a common one too. Because I think that's, I don't know why is that common? I think I've talked to several people that are like, I don't want a lot of money because they'll just become a bad person.
Yeah.
Plus, I grew up with people telling me that anybody who's rich is the worst person on the planet. And if you have any kind of money more than they did, you're evil. So I'm like, I guess I shouldn't have X amount of dollars because they will hit me. So.
But in actuality, in reality, money just magnifies who you already are.
Yeah, we've come to learn that.
Yeah, money's more of like a magnifier. It doesn't change who you are. It magnifies who you are. So if you are a good person, it can help magnify that good. If you are a bad person.
And I think the media, obviously we know this, focuses on the negative. And so like there's a lot of people out there with a lot of money that do a lot of good, but we just don't see that. Yeah. Right? We see the bad side of money.
Because that's like what sells. That's what's out there. That's what's popular is negativity. Yep. So that's all we see over and over again. But if we can start creating a different story with that by
create a different story,
looking for something else. Another one I put down was having a bad marriage.
You thought money would give you a bad marriage?
No, a fear.
A fear of what?
I had a fear of having a bad marriage.
Oh, I know. Yeah, obviously.
And so I feel like when you have these fears, you almost like manifest them. And so a lot of times,
Are you saying we have a bad marriage?
well, no, but in the past, like when I was really focused and worried about, I don't want a bad marriage. I don't want a bad marriage. Oh my gosh, like this needs to be right. This needs to be right. Then I was just so hyper focused on making sure I didn't have a bad marriage, which caused more of what I didn't want.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So
I'm not saying it was your fault, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Another one that I wrote down was people not liking me, speaking, meeting new people.
Speaking, what is that?
Like speaking in public.
You don't want to speak in public because if you have
this
money?
was like years and years ago. I feel like I've kind of gotten over this last one.
I think you good.
I think I've gotten over a lot of these actually. I've worked really hard these last few years to like get over my fears and let them go and like replace fear with faith.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say you worked really hard on it. The speaking in public, I think that's probably just, you become more natural for sure.
Yeah.
She did a Shark Tank once. We always joke about this. We should put it up sometime, but it was hard. If you like go back on, on these Maeband videos, you'll think less of Holly, I promise. But no, it was so funny just because when we were both there, I was like, dude, this was awesome. Like you did so good. We look back on it and it was hard to watch. No wonder they didn't pick you. She may have gotten on Shark Tank.
So, yeah.
That was me too. Like I said, I was like, you did great. Then.
But anyway, I actually feel like looking back at this a few years later, I feel like I've pretty much gotten over most of these really big fears that I had, except for the character of my children. I still struggle with that one. Still working on that one. I still get like anxious and worried and like fearful about that.
Yeah.
What about you?
So that's what you're manifesting. You're manifesting terrible children. Thank you.
So I guess my children are terrible.
A couple of them. And what about me? Oh, my fears?
Yeah. What are your fears?
Just kidding. My kids aren't terrible. They're actually really good. Heights. I know that's different.
So you're gonna manifest.
I'm gonna manifest falling out of a plane.
Falling
I may have had a past life where I fell to my death because I'm terrified of heights. What are my fears? My fear is not being able to provide for my family. That's a big fear of mine.
Oh, so are you manifesting that?
I don't know. Are we eating? I'm pretty sure we eat. So
I don't know.
We have in the past.
Maybe
in the past, we've had some very poor years. We've had some very broke years.
There have been some years where
we've had some rough years.
Where we weren't eating.
We were eating. Oh my gosh. Okay, so not being able to provide for my family, heights. That's just like a stupid one. Bad drivers, they scare me just because it makes me a worse person.
That is why
because I yell at everybody.
No, literally every time I drive with you, there are bad drivers all around.
It's true.
I'm like, how does this happen? How do you always
see? It's not just me. Everybody notices it.
I know. So you're manifesting it. Like,
I'm not manifesting them appearing in front of me, driving 10 miles an hour under the speed limit.
I think you are.
No,
you must be. If that's your fear, you must be.
Maybe. I guess. I don't know. What's a big fear of mine?
I don't know.
You would know. You know me better than probably I know myself. The not being able to provide for my family. Yeah. That probably goes along with yours, where it's just like a lack of money, which I know money is not everything, but it does buy food. And I feel like I have another big one. I just can't remember. I just don't know what it is.
So they say that 6 fears, or in this book, there are 6 main fears. Okay?
Loss of freedom.
Yeah,
that's mine. That's my biggest loss of freedom.
You manifest that multiple times over the years. Your own loss of freedom through like substance addictions.
Yeah.
Like that obviously takes your freedom away.
Yep.
So it's interesting that that's like your biggest marriage.
Just kidding. No, this marriage is great.
That's why you've been married for 21 years.
So I keep manifesting chains and prison. I'm just kidding. I really love it.
That's why you had 6 children, because you manifested.
That's right. I don't have freedom.
Lots of freedom.
I'm just running to gymnastics, volleyball. But I actually like that. But yeah, loss of freedom is my big one.
All right.
That's probably why. Yeah, maybe I just. Okay. Anyway, what?
Yeah, maybe you should keep your mouth shut. So there are 6 main fears that like people in the world have, right? Poverty, criticism, illness or health.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Loss of love, old age, and death.
Which the old age I don't get. Like it's going to happen.
I know, but people fear it.
Yeah, it sucks. But I mean,
it's funny. But death is going to happen too.
Maybe for some.
Well, forever, death is going to happen. So
I don't know. Maybe.
Just accept it, right?
You never know. That's true too. But that's true. You're going to die and you're going to get old. Well, hopefully you get old, right? That's what it should be like. Hopefully I get to get old. I know it sucks because, I don't want to die at 40. But it's interesting. Just recently I was listening to something about, what was it? The loss. What is it? The third one? Fourth one?
Poverty, criticism, health, loss of love, old age, death.
That's what I was listening to something recently talking about health and how if you focus, what was that? It had to have been something we were listening to probably together, because it was like, okay, if you are focused on bad health, that's what you are going to create. Right. If you're always looking like, oh, I hope I don't get this. I hope I don't get that. I hope I get this. I hope that I don't. I would say more on the negative side. So like, I hope I don't. I hope I don't. I hope I don't. Mm-hmm. It's like this weird feeling I get. If you focus on that, that's what's going to come. Right. Like you can say, I hope I'm healthy. I hope, right. I think that's a good thing. I hope I'm healthy for my whole life. I hope my kids are amazing. Hope everybody in my house is healthy. But I feel like when you start focusing on the negative, like, I hope I don't. I hope I don't.
You're right.
I kind of feel like it's going to come. That might just be like a twisted, universal thing that is just kind of like, I'm going to, like where you got to grow.
Yeah. That's actually interesting because this is one I didn't write down from before, but obviously like I fear like bad health in my family.
Yeah. That's another one.
Like my dad had a stroke like almost 20 years ago. And then
he was young, like 55
he was
or
in his 50s. And so that's just been like this big fear is like bad health. And so obviously that's, what I focus on, like, don't do that. Don't.
You're manifesting my poor health, Holly. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am in terrible health because of you.
Thank you for reminding me, Bryan.
It's not the cookies and ice cream that I eat daily.
The two greatest weapons against the adversary are lack of fear and independent thought. So we talked about lack of fear.
Okay.
And now we're going to go on a little bit to independent thought.
Okay.
All right. So Satan comes in with mindless drifters. I think the majority of people in the world are mindless drifters.
Is it like the idle thought, idle hands? What's the saying? What, you know what I'm saying? Well, idle thoughts.
Yeah,
like you're just,
mindless drifters. Okay.
Yeah.
Think about like social media, right?
Yeah.
Mindless drifting.
That's a good point.
Right? Social media is just, that has created a world of mindless drifters. It's created two different worlds.
And
I feel like it's created, it's created a lot of fear and mindless drifting. But I feel like it's created two worlds. It's created a world of people who like create, content creators.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of people on there creating. And then there's a second world where it's just like mindless drifting. Yeah. Right?
Yep. And I think the mindless drifting is when the fear comes in, because I could be in the best mood of my life. And then I get on Instagram and then Facebook. And I was like, our freaking planet sucks. And then I'm just like pissed off. And it just destroys any positive movement I have going on.
Yeah. So mindless drifters are people with no goals, no creating, and not knowing like where they're going in life. So
we're not saying, I don't think she's saying that social media is bad, because obviously it can be used for positive. Yeah. Obviously we do definitely. But yeah, I think it's, I don't know, because some people, like you said, some people use it for the positive. Mm-hmm. They're, positive content, awesome, uplifting stuff. And then there's people that definitely use it for negative. Maybe not even on purpose. Might not even be using it for, it's just, I guess the world is a negative place. And when you see everything that's going on, it's just like, oh my gosh, how this is awful. How are we going to move on? Like that's, going back to one of my fears is like protecting my kids. And then I see all this chaos going on. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm one guy. I got to protect my wife and 6 kids. And then if they have kids, I got to protect them. So it brings a lot of fear. I would say the social media brings a lot of fear. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing anyways. It's kind of what I've always said is like things can be created for good. And then Satan can come in and like get a hold of it and turn it into negative. But also things that may start out as mistakes, like bad, God can come in and turn it into something good.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how God can go on and like change things and make them better. Like, I mean, you all hear about those stories, like people made this terrible mistake, or like this negative thing happened, like an illness, or like really bad things happen. And yet God can come in and like create miracles, or like really. And
then the opposite side's coming in and be like, oh, shame on you. I can't believe you do that. You're a terrible human. You're bad. And then obviously there's a flip side to it.
So there was a question here that the book answered. Why does God not destroy Satan?
Personally, this is what I think. Free will. People have free will. And so you're going to have, if God allows free will, there are going to be bad people, right? Because there are people that like to take advantage of others. That's just human nature, right? So even if there was not a Satan, somebody's going to come in and fill that spot. Somebody's going to fill the void with their negativity or whatever it is. I just think maybe if we're talking literal God and Satan, like we're going back to the beginning of time where he's had a long time to perfect his negativity.
So what this book says is, because the power is as much Satan's as it is God's.
Because what?
Because the power is as much Satan's as it is God's.
Okay.
Which is super interesting. So basically it's available to Satan, like the same power is available to Satan that's available to God. Okay. So it can be used by any human being just as effectively as by God or the devil. So there's like power out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And anybody can use it. Any God, any Satan, but God has learned how to probably master it and perfect it and use it. So that's kind of like, there's another book I read that was like science, like God basically creates through science. God uses science to create. So God knows this power and he creates with it.
Yeah. I like the question. Why hasn't he been destroyed? But that's probably a pretty common thought. Like why, everybody, I've heard, how many times we heard, why do good things happen to bad people? Mm-hmm. Why do bad things happen to good people? Vice versa. Yeah. It's probably both, right? You're like, so why do bad things happen to good people? That's what I think. That's the hard part, is you see so many bad things happening to amazing people. And I guess maybe in our eyes, they're bad. They might not be bad. And, if you're thinking eternally, right? If you have an eternal perspective, it might not be bad, but I don't know. But yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent there. But that's what I do.
So basically to outwit the devil, there are 7 principles to obtain spiritual, mental, and physical freedom, which will help you out with the devil.
Okay.
First principle is definiteness of purpose.
I think people feel lost when they don't have purpose. So, and the one thing that I've learned over the past year even, is what was it? We were listening to something the other day, and it was, I think a woman, I don't know where from, but she was basically like, your purpose can be that day, right? It doesn't need to be this huge purpose that you need to fulfill. You're like, okay, I've got to do all these things and make sure it happens. Like your purpose can be daily. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like if you're at home, that's just your day. If you don't have a million other things going on, your purpose can be hanging out with your kids. That's a big purpose, right? Bringing your kids closer to you. Mm-hmm. So I like that, what she said too.
The second thing is mastery over self.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Is it?
Not for you. Holly's like perfected that. She is just basically, I think we've talked about that. She's like, oh, caffeine, I don't really like. Done. The rest of her life, she doesn't touch caffeine. That's just what she can do that with anything. It's
just like, I told myself I wasn't going to do it. So
I know, but that's what I'm saying. But most normal people don't do that. I'm like, yeah, caffeine's bad. And then I think that's most normal people. You're like an anomaly, which is great. It's awesome.
Thank you.
I want to get there, but it's not looking good.
The third thing is learning from adversity.
Yeah, we've all done that. Which is why I think adversity comes.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's probably the reason why there is a Satan.
That's right. Yeah.
You learn from adversity.
The fourth thing is controlling environmental influence associations.
Have good friends.
That's right. The fifth is time giving permanency to positive rather than negative thought habits and developing wisdom.
I did that recently.
Did you?
Didn't I?
What?
What I did, I started doing gratitude journal.
That's
I know.
Right.
I'm sorry for, I sound anyway. So I do a gratitude journal, and it's literally changed my outlook on life.
So focusing,
Yeah. All I did was like 5 things a day that I'm grateful for.
He really has. Like I was like, there was like a week that went by and I was like, what? Like something has shifted in Bryan. Like what the heck? Like his energy and like, he's like more positive. I didn't know what was going on. And then all of a sudden we were out to lunch and he was like, I think having a gratitude journal really has helped me. And I was like, what? That's what you've been doing?
Plus I've been drinking. So
I know. He's like, yeah, just like really like that. That's it. Well, and he's like, oh, and reading the scriptures, but like, so he's reading the scriptures daily and like writing 5 things he's grateful for every day.
They've both been
seriously,
awesome.
The shift in him.
They've both been
night
awesome.
and day.
Yeah.
It's insane. So number 6 is harmony, acting with a definiteness of purpose to become the dominating influence in your own mental, spiritual, and physical environment.
That was a long one.
That was.
Yeah, you can explain that one. I'll let you explain.
I guess just acting. I don't even know how to explain it. Like having harmony within yourself. So you have harmony within yourself and you act with this definite of purpose. And when you have harmony, you're doing what you say you would do.
Yeah.
Like, because you have peace and harmony within yourself. So you're like, you say you're going to do something and you do it, which I guess it's pretty much mastery over self.
Yeah.
And then the 7th thing is caution, thinking through your plan before you act.
Dude, I don't like that one. I'm not so sure that's a good one.
Why don't you like that, Bryan?
Because I can't do it. I don't plan. I don't have caution. I don't plan. I don't like it.
But apparently it's important.
Probably. That's probably why I'm where I'm at most of the time. That's probably why I have so many issues in my life. So maybe.
So to wrap this up, anyone who submits to annoyance by things that he does not want, he's not definite. He is a drifter. So when you're like driving in a car and you have a person cut in front of you,
they do it
and
all
you
day
submit
long.
to that annoyance, then
with flipping people off,
then you're a drifter.
I don't do that.
Or like kids, when they're like not working and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I submit to annoyance, I then become a drifter. So, and drifting is bad, purpose is good.
Yeah. I would highly recommend the book, to be honest. It was like, I think it'd be like what you could actually go on YouTube and listen to it. That's what I did. I would go to the gym and I would just, they got the whole book on YouTube and I just listened to it while I'm at the gym. It's not like one of those where you have to like read it and it's like not deep thinking. I guess it is. But
it's like interesting, like an interview with the devil, right?
Yeah, very interesting.
I mean, obviously these are the things like my biggest takeaways, and everybody's going to have their own big takeaways from anything that they read. And so definitely check the book out. And if you have any comments, questions, anything else, write it down in the comments below and let us know.
I'll see you.
Bye. Thanks for watching Maeband.